I will do hill sprints until I quite literally wear a path in the grass. The park that I used to do them at, the guys would come by mowing the lawn and they would just yell at me like, "Would you stop?" Like I'm using the park.
Welcome to ActiveCast, a podcast about exercise and training for streamers, gamers, and people who sit still a lot. As usual, I would appreciate if you would like it and rate it. Review the podcast wherever you listen to it. It helps the podcast greatly, so thank you, and thank you for listening. In this episode, we will talk to Tugboet. Tugboet is a US streamer and stay-home dad. He is a variety streamer who mostly leans into more chill games on Twitch, and on TikTok he does content around being a parent, among other things. Tug has a good background in training, and he even had a job in a place where I almost wish I could work. Tug has some really good advices when it comes to getting exercise and training into the daily routine. We talk a little about the connection between exercising and mental health and how closely interlinked they are. Being a parent, working, and tending a household don't leave much room for training, but by being a little smart about it, you can trick that training into your life. It's almost like cheating time a little bit. So, listen to what Tugboet has to share with us. Hello, Tugboet. Welcome to the podcast. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm glad to talk to you because I know you have a good background in training and exercising, and I also know that you are a huge fan of games and streaming. So can you tell a little bit about yourself and promote you a little bit?
Sure. My name is Tug, or Tugboet with an E, the correct spelling. You can find me at Tugboet on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, all those different places. I'm a Twitch partner. I stream pretty much every day, Monday through Friday, early morning East Coast time in the US, and play a variety of games, but lean into some of the more relaxing things. And I make different content for TikTok talking about being a parent, lots of stuff with my dogs and things like that. So, but most of the time I'm just a stay-at-home dad.
That's great. You have a very fluffy dog.
I do have she is very, very fluffy.
Yeah, she's lovely. Very, very nice. And also you have a very creepy ability to tell me what games I should play.
It's more about knowing that you have the same taste in games that I do. So
yeah, it's amazing.
It's pretty easy. It's like recommending things to myself.
Yeah. It's amazing. Every time you tell me something, I'm just hooked, and I think that's amazing. All right, so you're an avid gamer and streamer. That is nice, and you stream solely on Twitch, right?
Yeah, I do some YouTube content, but not a ton. I'm hoping to expand that in the future. But.
Yeah. That's nice. So let's jump into this, because this podcast is a lot about training and exercising for streamers and gamers, and I mean people in general that have sedentary jobs.
Right.
And it's a little bit about how interviewing streamers, how they think about it, and to motivate and to show others that it's not always like the easiest thing, but you can do it anyway. Right. So do you do exercising and training regularly?
I try to, yeah, as much as I can. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you do?
So I have a base routine that I stick with that is purely body weight. I used to do a lot of stuff in the gym. I used to do a lot of heavy lifting and things like that. And I also lifted a lot in my old job. But since staying at home, and particularly once I started with content creation, I established a fairly consistent body weight routine that is mostly light exercises that I do around the house that doesn't require equipment. So
that's good. body weight is amazing because you always have it available.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's easy to do exercises like that whenever you need to.
Yeah. So when you have
Stop
time and so on.
Yeah. So I have like my baseline routine is to have a goal for a total number of exercises that I want to do. Say it's like squats or push-ups or planks. And I just want to hit that total number by the end of the day. So I'll do, if I'm standing waiting for my coffee to finish, I'll do 5 squats and work myself towards that number and kind of like chip at it throughout the day and just maintaining that consistency.
Okay, that's really smart. So you like put it into like your everyday life and
yes.
But how do you set that like number, or how do you know how many squats you want to do or whatever?
Initially, I picked a number. I was like, I can do that number, and that was very wrong. And I didn't come anywhere near that number because I vastly overestimated my abilities. The first exercise that I did it was with pull-ups. I had a pull-up bar in my old house. We're between houses at the moment, so I can't do pull-ups currently. Landlord probably wouldn't like if I ripped the door frame down. So I started it with pull-ups, and I was like, I think I can do 10,000 pull-ups in a year. So then I divided it out, and I was like, okay, I have to do like 60 a day, which is, I can do that easy. It was not that easy.
No.
There are a lot of...
When you say that I can do it easy, I was like, oh my God, okay.
So I ended up, I think at the end of that first year, I ended up around 7,000 because there were days where I was able to get 100 done. And then there were days that I got 5 done. Yeah. And then there were days where I was sick or kids were sick and I didn't get, any done. Yeah. So it's kind of a trial and error thing, kind of see how you feel. And it's not necessarily about that number. It's about establishing that routine and getting into that vibe, because it's much more about consistency than it is about like quantity.
Yeah, that is very true. I had an interview with one of my friends who are a physiotherapist, and he always says that it doesn't matter how many you do or what you do. The important thing is that you do it and consistently.
Exactly.
But that's very small. So you have a kind of a long-term goal. So you put it up for a year, and then you see how much you can do like every day if you feel good or not. I think that's a really smart idea. That's a good tip for listeners to do the long-term goals.
Yeah, even if it's 30 days, there are a lot of 30-day programs out there for, push-ups, crunches, all different dips, squats. There are lots of 30-day programs out there, and it gives you kind of a longer-term goal that you can work towards. And I think not only do you need like those small little like daily goalposts to hit to get those, to get that nice hit every day of that good positive feedback every day, but to have something to work towards. Like, particularly for me, I need that end goal. I need to have something that I'm driving towards. Otherwise, I kind of get lost in the weeds.
Yeah. So you need like the vision or the end goal, the big goal.
Right.
So do you have a even like bigger goal? Do you have something that you want to achieve from putting up those yearly goals, like a vision or whatever?
To be perfectly honest, and it's kind of weird, but I guess it's not really that weird. But my goal is to match or exceed my father, who he was much older when he started having kids. He's almost 80 now, but he still looks like he's 60, and he's still in great shape, and he has always kept himself in great shape. And growing up, he would always be like doing something, doing like running, doing all kinds of different exercises like throughout the day, like kind of similar to how I've done. And I want to be those landmark ages. Like I'm 40 now. When I hit 50, I want to be in better shape than when he was 50. I want to beat him on all those markers. So that's like my long-term goal. And that's a little weird, but that's my goal, because he's somebody that I've always like looked at and been like, how is he in that good of shape at his age?
Yeah. But that makes sense. I mean, it's not weird. I think it very much makes sense. It's someone you grow up with and you see every day, and or more or less, or you have them in your life in some extent, probably, not always, but I think you maybe have some person in your. It doesn't have to be your dad or mom, but it's a person. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But so you said that you did like squats or pull-ups and so on. Can you like tell us what kind of exercise you're doing? So just to give the listeners a view of the variety you do.
Sure. The basic days are push-ups, dips, which I do like arm dips on the edge of the couch. I'll just, scoot my butt off of the couch and dip down and raise myself up on my arms. So push-ups, dips, sit-ups. I will do jumping jacks. I have my daily walk with my dog. I do that twice. And then I try to do pull-ups. I can't. I'm stuck not being able to do pull-ups right now. Yeah. And then squats as well. Just stuff to keep me moving. And then there are days where I'll try to get in running. We do have access to a gym now, so I've mixed in rowing machine and some light lifting as well when I can. But the big thing is like making sure that I hit those marks every single day for consistency.
So you do all of those exercises every day?
As much as yes.
All right.
Even when I don't feel well, I try to get them done.
All right. That's really impressive. Very good. Yeah, that's very good. So but I also know that you have a background in training, right? You have been training and exercising pretty much your whole life, or?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I know
between sports and getting into rock climbing and things like that when I was very young. Yeah, it's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I know we have been talking a little bit about that, the climbing stuff, because since I am also a climber, and I understand that you have been a kick-ass climber.
I was pretty good back in my day. This was the late 90s, but I was pretty good when I was younger. Not that good now, but
listening to Offspring and killing it at the boulder.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It helps that I worked full time at a rock gym at that point, so I was literally paid to get better at climbing. So.
Yeah, I mean that's like a dream, kind of.
Yeah. I still want to open my own gym, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also something to motivate you and a vision in your life, and I think you can apply that to both training and exercising, but also I think you can take a lot of that mindset you have in training and put that on other life stuff, and also the other way around. If you are good at putting up goals for your education or your job, career, or whatever it is, I think you can apply that very much to training and exercise too, the mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have a long-term goal in life, you need to take tiny steps to get to it, right? You can't do the whole thing in one big chunk, so you have to kind of chip away at it. And doing daily exercises like that, even if my target is, say, like I need to do 100 push-ups today, like I'm going to do 5, and then a couple hours later I'll do 10, and then a couple hours later I'll do 5 more, and just taking those little bite-sized chunks and working the way. And then by the time you get to the end, you realize like, oh, wow, I did 100 push-ups, and that's a lesson in life when you're presented with a lot of difficult things or you have a long-term goal to get to. And that is especially true when you're trying to establish yourself in exercise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good advice to break it down into chunks. I think a lot of people think that you need to go to a gym or like, now I have to do an hour and then I have to do all the workouts.
Right.
So, and I think that is one of the brilliant thing about what you said here now, that you do the 5 squats when you're waiting for the coffee to finish or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll I'll do 5 squats. I'll put conditioner in my hair in the shower and let it sit in there for a second. And I'll do 5 squats while it sits in my hair and then rinse my hair out.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, I really like that, Tug, because that points at the ease of getting the exercises done. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Right. You don't have to become a sweaty mess.
Exactly.
Every time you work out, you just kind of chip away at it. Yeah. And it's those types of exercises are, again, it's more about establishing a commitment to a routine, and then you're raising your baseline fitness with routines like that. So your baseline fitness just starts to creep up and creep up and creep up. And you'll find yourself being able to do more and more of those exercises as you go on. And then when you get the opportunity to go to a gym, or you get the opportunity to do more stuff, you suddenly realize, like, my baseline is much higher than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because you're slowly chipping away and climbing that baseline higher.
Yeah. And I think that's very, very important, because very often when I talk to people about training and how they should get started or motivate themselves and so on, it's a hard time to start working out or start running or whatever you're doing, because the baseline are most often very low. So I think that's a very good advice. So is there any, like, for since it's streamers and gamers I'm aiming at here, they are notoriously afraid of going outside and doing stuff and also moving sometimes. At least that's what a lot of people tell me. So can you like think out loud or talk a little bit about how do you think a streamer or gamer could get started if you are really, like, not into moving at all?
Probably the biggest and the first fundamental step, if you're a streamer, is get yourself a standing desk. Even if it's not a full standing desk, get a platform that goes on top of your desk that will raise your keyboard and mouse up so that you can stand. Getting up and standing is so much better for you, and transitioning, sitting back down and standing back up. Getting the standing desk was one of the first things that I did as soon as I was able. And one of the other little things that I do is they're not really fidget toys, but they're exercise toys that I keep on and near my desk. I keep a 6-pound medicine ball under my desk.
Oh, wow.
And I use it to fidget with my feet, but then I'll pick it up when I'm watching a video or waiting for something to encode, waiting for a video to process. I will pick that up and I'll do overhead stretches with it, like letting it stretch out my delts or moving it around and just twisting my body while holding, it's not a heavy weight. Just doing little things and keeping yourself moving, or, when you're waiting for a round to load, doing 5 quick squats or doing 2 or 3 push-ups. Just doing little things and just not sitting still doing nothing the whole time is the best way. But I think the easiest way to make that transition for most streamers is making the change to a standing desk.
Yeah. That is like changing position is one of the first step. Standing up, sitting down, just moving around a little bit. That's a really good advice. The standing desk, I got one also. I actually just standing up now when we record this. I've been sitting down quite a lot today, but it's amazing. Yeah, so that's two good advices. Getting a standing desk or somehow get the opportunity to elevate your monitoring mouse and keyboard so you can switch position. And also a medicine ball. That is really good. I like just fiddling around with your feet when you sit. That's a good exercise. So for sure. Can you describe the things you had on your desk? Like you said, not fidget spinner, but so what could that be?
Grip tools is what they are. So like sand-filled stress balls that you can really squeeze, a tennis ball, and just a grip builder that has individual finger presses, individual finger springs. Which you see a lot in people who rock climb will use those a lot, but it's also good individually, particularly if you're using a desk a lot to combat RSI. Doing those individual finger presses will help to strengthen and prevent RSI from from really getting hold.
Can you explain what RSI is?
Repetitive stress injuries, so carpal tunnel, things like that, from sitting at a desk using mouse and keyboard constantly. I also have 2 different mice, so a vertical mouse and a regular mouse that I swap in between constantly so that I'm not constantly in the same position.
Oh, okay. That is smart. I never thought about that you can have 2 different mouses. That's a good one. Yeah, okay. But yeah, so that's good. So basically, like, I have those rubber bands that you that you put around your fingers and you open and close the hand. It's kind of those, like, rock climbing thingies. But it doesn't have to be. It's like a tennis ball, as you said. That's a good thing. All right. So, but that's good. So we have the body weight. That's a good thing, and you do it throughout the day when you're waiting for stuff and so on. And then for the streamers, you said standing desk is a good thing, and then you have some stuff around you that you can fiddle with and use and so on. But so some people that's like already doing this, but they want to do more. Do you have like when you think about it, when you have your good baseline, what is your, like, do you feel that you want to expand it and do something else, or?
Yeah, I always love to. I would like to bring more running and like long distance fitness into it, whether it's much longer walks or being able to do a little bit more running. My current situation with moving has really limited my ability to do that. But I love trail running. I love just running in general. And I know I hated running for a really, really long time. Absolutely hated everything about it. And that's, I played soccer, football for years, decades, up to like the semi-pro level. And I hated running my entire career trying to do that. And then something clicked, just pushing myself to do it consistently. Something clicked, and it became like my number one mental health outlet is running. And that is something that I always want to do more, and different variations of it, from like trail running to road running to running hill sprints to just different things like that. I always find that very relaxing. Is a weird word to say for running yourself into the ground, but it is incredibly relaxing.
For your head, it's very relaxing.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. Now I mean, that I am an avid runner.
Preaching to the choir on that one.
yeah, a little bit. But then again, I also meet a lot of people that, like you, say that they really, really hate running, and but they want to do it because it's easily available and it's easy to do, and so on. But do you know when this switch was, when you went from like, I totally hate this, to this is a good thing? Do you know what happened there?
I had kids.
Okay.
So
yeah,
the transition happened was our kids are less than a year apart. They're very close together. So and my wife was working nights when they were very young. So I had to keep them quiet during the day. So that meant taking them on drives when it was cold or rainy, to get them to quiet down and relax, or if it was decent enough out, putting them in a stroller and taking them for a walk. So I invested in a jogging stroller, a double jogging stroller for twins, and I started walking with them, and then I started jogging with them, and we would go for longer and longer times. And that was when it was a combination of decompressing from, like, the kids would drift off and take a nap while I was doing it. So it allowed me to decompress emotionally from the parenthood stuff. And then it would also allow me to just generally decompress and get fresh air and be in the sunshine. And it just started going from this chore and this thing that I hated into this thing that I looked forward to so much every single day. And that really caused that transition to happen. And I really enjoy it even now.
Yeah, that's
12 years later.
That's amazing. That's a really nice storyline where you can see that transition. But it might also be that you like start doing it and you build up your base level in running, and it becomes more of a like it becomes easier, more natural for you to do it.
Yeah. When I tell people how many pull-ups that I would do every day, like I still try to hit 60 to 100 pull-ups a day.
Yeah.
And they're like, how can you do that? I'm like, well, I didn't always do that.
No.
I started with 5 and then built my way up. You know, you can't start with the big end goal. It's something that, you know, I'm sure you've talked to your kids about when they try something new and they are not immediately good at it. It's like, well, no, you have to work at it. And it's the same way with fitness. It's with running, with anything. You have to start, and then you slowly chip away and grow, and you put commitment into it, and you'll get that feedback. You'll get that growth.
Yeah, that is kids in a nutshell. Why am I not good at this? Well, you know. But then again, I also say when you say that I do 60 pull-ups a day, and I was like, oh my god, that's a lot. That's I'm impressed about that. That's really nice. But as you said, you have worked for it for some time, so that's good.
Right.
But you mentioned that you feel when you are out running, it decompresses a little bit, and it's good for your mental health. Are you up to talk a little bit about that? Not
Sure.
Playing out your mental health, but the connection between like the exercises or the exercising and mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredibly important, and it's wild how tied together the two can be, and how making small, it doesn't have to be wild improvements, but making small improvements to your fitness, and even so much as putting in a daily walk into your routine, you will see almost immediate appreciable increases in your mental well-being.
Yeah.
It is wild how much it helps. It is a combination of getting sunshine. It is a combination of getting your blood flowing. It is a combination of when you're walking around, looking around, taking the world in, just letting your mind kind of flow. It helps you to process all the stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
And it's almost like flushing your system. It's so the two spheres are so intertwined. And it's incredibly important. And whenever I go through a depressive episode, or whenever I'm having a really hard time, I will immediately, the first thing that I do is I make my walks longer, and I start adding more running, and I just get that heart rate up, get my cardio up, and push through it. And it helps so much.
Yeah. I heard a lot of people saying that helps more than when they're taking antidepressive pills. And I don't say you should take away the pills or whatever when you talk to a doctor about that, but it's it also shows how much of an impact it has on your mental health.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about a research. I listened to a podcast called Wild Ideas Worth Living. It's an amazing podcast. And they talked about how much it makes for your mental health and your brain just getting out to get some, like what you said, getting the sunshine, getting the green trees around you, getting the sound of the nature. And like it improves your mental health so much, and you can measure the stress levels going down, you can measure the cortisols going down, you can measure the pulse going down, like in general, not when you're hitting the hill, but in general. So that's so that's interesting to hear that. Or interesting, it is wild how much it does, for sure. But do you feel that it's the same effect if you're running or if you're doing like heavy weightlifting? Is it the same effect, or for you?
I think it depends on the person. It also depends on the mood. There are certain moods that I'm in if I'm trying to break out of, where doing heavier stuff, doing sprints, and really, you know, lifting heavy stuff and really pounding my body into the ground is what I feel like I need at that point.
Yeah.
And other times it's like I just need to go for a walk and like just let my mind wander. And they're kind of two different drugs for two different problems. But I feel like there's always some form of help in exercise for whatever is going on.
Yeah. So, so you know your body pretty well, so you know what you need.
Yeah.
Is that something you just like found out, or is it through like
just
many
going
years?
through it a lot?
going through it a lot,
and figuring out what works and what doesn't, and just remembering what worked for different situations and different feelings is a difficult part. But once you start to hone in on that, and once you start to realize what your body needs at different times, it becomes a lot easier. It's not easy to climb out of those moments in your life, but it becomes easier to power through them and like raise that foundation and give yourself a better chance at climbing out of it.
Do you do like some self-reflection afterwards, like when you get out of the episodes or so, that you do write it down, or how do you have a strategy for remembering it and to categorize it, so to say?
I actually use a daily mood tracker and journaling app.
All right.
I recently transitioned to one offered by Lavano Arms called The Hopeful. It is free on iPhones, on iOS, and on Android. It has no ads, it has no tracking, it's nothing. It is purely there for you and your mental health. You rate your mood for the day, and it gives you a prompt, a question. You don't have to answer the question, but I use that and I will write down what I'm feeling and what I'm planning to do for the day. So then I can go back and look at, like, I can click on a bad day and see like what I did that day, and then see what my mood was like the next day and be able to track those patterns. And it's doing a daily journal like that, particularly mood tracking, can be so informative to you because a lot of times it's hard to see whether or not you're getting better. And that allows you to see like, oh, I wasn't doing that great last week, and now I feel like I'm doing better. Okay, I'm making progress. And that allows you to hone in on those routines as well, to figure out like, okay, I was in a really bad mood and I said, I'm going for a run until my brain doesn't hurt anymore. And the next day I felt better. So, okay, I feel like that again today, so let's do that.
Yeah. So that you can track that in that kind of app.
Yes.
All right. So can you say again what it was called?
It's called The Hopeful. It's published by mental health charity To Write Love on Her Arms, which both you and I have done fundraisers for in the past.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice app. And again, there's no tracking, no garbage. It doesn't need permissions, anything like that. It just it gives you a little prompt. If you need encouragement to journal, it gives you a little question, like, what do you want to win today? Things like that. But you can ignore that prompt and just journal for yourself. Or just click one of the smiley faces that indicates how your mood is today and just track it that way. You can do as much or as little as you want. And it's really nice and really helpful and very simple.
So it's not like Duolingo that's guilting you when you're not doing your daily.
Not at all. The exact opposite of that. And every time, every day when you open the app, it has a motivational, like, positive reinforcement message that pops up first and then takes you to the app. That's
kind of what they have done on their Twitter account also.
Yes.
To write love,
a lot of those are basically the same messages. They cross post across all their media, so you'll see the same one.
All right. So To Write Lavano Arms, they seem to be a really, really good organization, and as you said, we have raised quite a lot of money actually for them, which I'm super proud of and very happy of. But I will put a link to, maybe you can provide me with a link, and I will put it on the show notes and in the episode description on YouTube later on, so people can find it. But that's a really good tip and advice to use one of these. Because I know I have always been a very self-reflective person, so I know my body and my brain very, very well, and I know how I work in different situations and how I will, how my body will respond in certain situations. But it is a hard thing to do, and if you're not used to it, it can be a little bit daunting and overwhelming. So I think that's a really good advice. I had a question in my mind, but it went away. So, but never mind. But do you know any like do you know any games or so that is available to get to help you start moving and so on? Like I know there are like Wii Fit and so on. No, yeah, it's called Wii Fit. It's not that's old. What is the new one for Switch? Ring Fit. Oh, Ring Jesus Fit, Christ! Yeah. It's like, yeah, back in my days we had Wii Fit. Yeah, but Ring Fit, right? It's called.
Yes, I do have Ring Fit.
Yeah,
it's actually it's a really good. It is a surprisingly good workout. It has way too many squats for my old knees. Okay. I do squats, but the numbers that it has in there, but it has a lot of running in place, a lot of squats, a lot of yoga based exercises, which are good. And it's genuinely, you can set your difficulty level or have it figure it out for you. But it genuinely provides a really decent workout in a pretty short amount of time. Each one can take between 20 and 40 minutes, depending on how much you want to do. Right. But that one is, if you need to gamify your experience, that would 100% be my recommendation. Ring Fit is actually quite good.
Yeah, I've heard that from more people that it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Do you use? You mentioned the Hopeful, that app for tracking your mood and so on. Do you also use do you have any apps or so for exercises or training programs or so, or you make that out of your own head?
No, I do. I have several apps which are offered by Darbee, Darbee, which is a fantastic website.
Yeah.
If you've never seen them, they have a couple apps that give you, I think they're called FitTap and Workouts Pocket, I think, are the two apps that they have that give you different workouts. I think FitTap just gives you hit it and it gives you one exercise to do. Which is great for like, if you need to just do an exercise, you tap it and it just gives you an exercise. You know, it'll be like, do a 60-second plank or do,
that's like my sub wheel that I haven't streamed. That when I get a sub, spin the wheel and do something. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, but Darbee has a wonderful collection of different exercises to do for all different activity levels. You don't have to have any equipment. It'll tell you what equipment you need for it. Most of them are no equipment. A lot of them are body weight. You can, if you have weights to use, you can pick ones that have weights. They have 30-day challenges on there. They have recommendations for some meal plans on there, but they have the primary thing is just different groups of workouts, and a lot of them are body weight based. And it's a fantastic free, only supported by donations resource to pull from.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good resource actually, especially if you are. I think the way you do it, like I do 5 squats when I wait for the coffee. In like a regime like that, and an app like that is really good. It's like, what am I going to do now? Then you get a little bit of surprise thingy in it also. Can you send me the links there so we can link to that also, so for people to find that and try it out? It's a really good advice there. All right, so do you? I mean, you told me about your motivation to do this. It's to keep up with the life like time gates as your dad, and you want to be a little bit more fit than he was at that age. And I think that's the more I think about it, it's a really good way to do it actually, to find someone to, you see that person and you have that as a limit or whatever you call it, like a level. But what motivates you? What do you do if you're not motivated to do something? Like, you need to do something, you just should go out running, but I really can't, and that goes on for quite a long time, so you feel that I don't get out running or whatever it is. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I use a little mental exercise that I call 0 to 1.
Okay.
All I have to do is go from 0 to 1. I only have to do the one thing. So I only have to do the one. Like, I'm not going to do all my exercises. I'm just going to do the one. So I'll just do the one, and then just do another 0 to 1, and then just do another 0 to 1. Like, okay, I did the one. Let me do one more, and let me do one more, and just like that constant. Like, I only need to do the one thing. Okay, the one thing's done.
Yeah.
And then I only need to do the one thing, and the one thing's done, and just slowly chipping away at it. And days like that, I won't get anywhere near my goals, but that doesn't matter because the consistency is what matters.
Yeah.
So as you just got to do that series of 0s to 1s. Like, there are some days where your 0 to 1 is getting out of bed.
Yeah.
And, okay, I did my 1. I got out of bed. All right, next 0 to 1 is making myself breakfast. Okay. Well, that's cooking. I can do like 5 squats. I can just do that and then worry about the rest later. It's not no worry for now. I just did the 1. And you just kind of keep chipping away at that.
Tricking yourself into it.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Only the one thing.
Yeah, it's
just the one thing.
It's fantastic how easy it is to trick yourself into stuff sometimes. Yeah. Or not easy, but that's fit. I mean, that goes very well together with what you said before about breaking down your goals into smaller parts, and this is like breaking it down to very, very small parts when you're not able to do it, and it's like, I'm getting out of bed, I'm putting one foot down on the floor, and it's like, and then you are going. So that's a really good. What you call it 0 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. All right. Do you have any more thoughts or something you want to send to our listeners? Some wise words before we wrap up.
It's not about what you do. It's about doing it. That's it.
That's it.
It doesn't matter how much you do. It doesn't matter what you do. It's just about doing it.
Doing it, yeah. That's a really good advice, actually. So write that down, people. Doesn't matter how much you do. You just do it. I think that's a really good summary. So I have 2 questions for you, Tug, that I will ask everyone that is on this podcast. And I want to know your favorite exercise. And I want to know your favorite game. And you can only choose one. I know it's impossible, but it's kind of top of your mind, or like
my favorite exercise. You'd think after all my talk that I would say pull-ups, but it's not. My favorite exercise is much worse than that.
All right.
It is hill sprints.
Oh yeah.
I will do hill sprints until I quite literally wear a path in the grass. I don't know what it is, but I can do hill sprints until I fall over, and I do. I don't know why I love it, but I love them. They're my favorite exercise. I will do those over any other form of exercise any day of the week.
They are fantastic.
They're just, I don't know what it is, but if you want to, if you need to get your cardio up really fast, just go do hill sprints until you fall over, and then go back the next day and do them, and you'll be like, wow, these first couple were really easy, and it is incredible the feedback loop that you get on those. I don't know what it is. I love those for some reason.
They are tough, but they are very rewarding.
Yeah,
I have seen your path up a hill.
I have sent you pictures.
So you are not lying.
I get the park that I used to do them at. The guys would come by mowing the lawn, and they would just yell at me like, "Would you stop?" Like, I'm using the park.
Oh, that's fantastic. But I get that. One of my favorite is running in a snowstorm. Just like, I don't know why, because it's something like nature. Just bring it on. It's you and me.
That's not an exercise. That's psychosis. But anyway.
So okay, fair enough. But hill sprints, well,
that's my psychosis.
Yes. I do.
Everybody needs their own crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So hill sprints is your favorite exercise, and your favorite game then?
That is a much more difficult question.
Yeah. It's like a favorite song.
Yeah, that's so mood dependent.
Yeah.
I love all kinds of games. If I had to pick one game, if you told me I had to pick one game to play right now, I would
for the rest of
probably
your
pick-
life.
I would probably pick Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
All right.
To me, the story and the gameplay are just incredible. Plus the way the story culminates in that game, and with the just multitude of different ways that it can go incredibly well or incredibly wrong, and the character moments, it's a wonderful experience that you can play through over and over again, and it's never quite the same. But it's that if I had to play one right now, that's what I would pick.
Mass Effect 2. That's promising. I just got Mass Effect Legendary Edition, so now I'm looking forward to play that. All right, that's awesome. So Hill Sprints and Mass Effect 2. Good answers. All right, so thank you so much for talking to me, Tug. I very much appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
And we will talk again soon, I hope.
I would love that.
Have a great rest of your day, Tug.
You too, Fa.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of ActiveCast. If you want to know more about the topics we talked about, don't be shy to post a comment on our YouTube channel. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel while you're there. You can also send a question directly to ActiveCast through Twitter or mail to activecastpod@gmail.com. Or you can also directly write to Tugboet. You find links and addresses in the show notes and in the description of the episode on YouTube. I would highly appreciate if you would like, rate, and review the podcast wherever you listen to it. It helps the podcast greatly, and just share it with friends and family. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you again in 2 weeks.